Testes.
Amadeus.
What about Zacchaeus from the Bible?
Ooh.
Nobody made a song about Zacchaeus.
Or Dr. Zaius. Dr. Zaius.
Are you afraid of me, Zaius?
Come on, rock me, Dr. Zaius.
Beware the forbidden zone. Welcome to the Club of Heroes once again. It's review night time.
Second review night.
We don't just talk about comic books, friends, listeners. We read them sometimes.
Miscreants. Hey, no, funny.
Last time Evan brought some books over from his trip to Austin.
Yeah.
This time we both brought some books from our respective caves here in sunny Port Aransas. And we're just going to talk about them. And this isn't your average comic book review podcast. You know, we don't give them 3 out of 5 stars. We don't do the thumbs up, thumbs down. We just talk about them because, personally, that's what I feel a review is. You just riff on something. You just talk about what you liked or didn't like. I think applying a scorecard is kind of fucking asinine. So
if it got a reaction out of you, then it did something right then. Yeah. Even if you hated it. If
we felt the need to talk about it on our podcast, then it was worth talking.
Yeah. Maybe you'd want to check it out on your own. Who knows?
So brief overview. I brought 2 trades. They're both Marvel comics. I got the Essential Iron Fist Volume 1 and Avengers Forever trade paperback in my hot little hands. And Evan, what do you have, sir?
Oh, I've got a little, like, pocket book, I guess, or a coffee table book called Holy Shit! The World's Weirdest Comic Books. It's by Paul Gravett and Peter Stansbury. It's kind of a little compendium of strange comics. I picked that up at the half-price books for, I think, for like $3. The cover caught my eye. And I have Kagemono, Flowers and Skulls, which is a horror anthology, which I had signed by some people that were authors of some of the stories in it.
Looks good. Can't wait to talk about it. Shout out to Half Price Books. You mentioned you got that World's Strangest Comics there. That's where I actually got both of these. And I love Half Price Books, brief aside here, because it's the thrill of going into a comic book store and not knowing what you're going to get, but you're paying like online retailer prices. You know, like places like DCBS.com will, you know, they flash prices all the time, but I like to actually go to a store and buy things. I'm not big about ordering stuff online.
Yeah.
Unless it's like my last resort, unless I absolutely have to. But, you want to go ahead and go first?
Yeah, sure. I guess I'll just open up with Holy Shit. It's kind of an easy one. It's what it says on the tin. Holy Shit, the World's Weirdest Comics. And we'll go through and kind of give you a mixture of all kinds of different comics, why some people find them strange or offensive or whatever. And it will have a panel or 2 with a cover. And it covers everything. I mean, Popeye and personal service careers.
Who's the author or the person who compiled all this?
Sure. It's by Paul Gravett and Peter Stanbury. They worked together on this. Paul Gravett worked on manga, 60 Years of Japanese Comics, and he collaborated with Peter Stansbury on graphic novels, Everything You Need to Know, and Great British Comics. So this isn't the first time that they've come together. Basically, this is just kind of a compendium of unusual comic books throughout the ages.
And these aren't necessarily like your timely Marvel, National, DC. Like, this is kind of on the fringes, or?
Yeah, this is very fringe work. Stuff like My Friend Dahmer, which is by a guy that actually knew Dahmer.
Oh, I've heard of that before, yeah.
You know, the most mainstream in here is Godzilla vs. Barkley, which is a Dark Horse book. But it's just a strange, strange book. You've got
Godzilla totally dunks in that comic, if you've never read it.
Reagan's Raiders, the ultimate patriotic superhero book. Like,
oh, wow. That looks...
Look at... He's like 70 years old. He's like a
That looks pretty awesome, actually.
Yeah. Everything from like little like 50s instructional booklets that tell you to avoid communism all the way to your president shooting people with a machine gun.
Issue something called All Negro Comics.
Yes. Really,
that won't light any fires, I'm sure.
This is maybe one of the weirdest titles in here. The Barn of Fear lasted exactly 1 issue, and it was a horror comic that came out of the underground publishing scene in the late 70s.
See, they're kind of parodying the EC logo.
Yeah, well, the whole look with like this would like say Talk Terror or something, and you know, So this lasted one whole issue. All the stories are animal-themed, which probably didn't help much.
Yeah, funny animal books, not a big seller. Chill.
Chill. Which is, I think, an ice cream. Yes, this is a popsicle comic book.
So it's endorsing a popsicle?
Yes. There's a double brain boy who's, I guess, flies around and helps people with his big brain. You got some adult comics in here. A little bit of everything. And almost all of it's really weird. So if you want to have like a book that's a strange variety book.
Wow.
If you want your brain to go strange places and you don't want to take any drugs, just pick this up. You will not.
Oh, Todd Holden's Super Green Beret. I've seen this before. Like in a Wizard magazine or something, I've seen that image.
He's John Wayne, basically. It's John Wayne of the Green Berets with the magic beret. There's
Amputee love.
There's no way to go wrong with this. So yeah, Fat Man, the Human Flying Saucer. This one, probably one of the more ridiculous ones in here. He's the only comic hero with 3 identities. A normal guy, Fat Man, and a flying saucer. What more could you ask from a comic book, Chris?
Why didn't that take off? I don't understand.
So yeah, you've got everything in here.
A book of picture stories.
Yeah, that's like an Aboriginal storybook.
Wow. So as far as the text, does he put any of these into context? Like,
a little bit. I mean, there's only like a paragraph, maybe 2-paragraph type blurb describing the book, how long it lasted, why it was sold, that kind of thing. Some are just weird and would make you pretty uncomfortable probably reading this in front of your kids or your friends. Some of these are just I don't know. Like there's a Batman like parody book in it. I just it runs the whole gambit of everything.
Hansi, the girl who loved the swastika.
So yeah, if you want if you've only read superhero comics and you don't know how deep the rabbit hole goes, this is a good sampler to get you started.
Yeah, and it's not just old stuff. It covers the entire
it goes from Golden
Age
until modern. You've got like some, I guess, Mandingo type stuff, just everywhere. Runs the whole gambit. There's Herbie
I see there. Herbie the Fat Fury in his famous sucker.
You want I should bop you with this here lollipop.
And Herbie wasn't like a lot of these were, one-shots or whatever. Herbie was a thing like that. That ran for quite a while. Yeah.
So yeah, if you want just a weird book to pick up, it doesn't get much stranger than this.
I love the giant house cat.
KONA, Monarch of Monster Isle. I think this was cashing in on the Last Boy on Earth Commandi kind of thing.
Because the R.
Mm-hmm. There's psychedelic stuff. There's like super patriotic stuff. It runs the whole gambit. It's weird stuff.
So once again, that is Holy Shit, the World's Weirdest Comic Books by Paul Gravett and Peter Stanberry. Definitely keep an eye out for that.
Yeah, it's a fun read.
Kind of in the same vein, in our last review episode, talked about what was that book about men's magazines?
Oh, yeah. I forget what. Maybe I think it was just called Men's Magazines.
It's right here. Men's Adventure.
Yeah, Men's Adventure Magazine.
Yeah, kind of in the same vein. Not quite as thick a tome, but
no.
Yeah,
it's those side by side. You might as well just have a boogie base then in your.
That's 8 pounds of crazy in a 5-pound bag.
So what'd you bring, Chris?
I guess I'll start with Avengers Forever. You'll notice the receipt I'm using as a bookmark here. I haven't actually finished this, but Avengers Forever is a mini-series Marvel did in, I believe it started in 1998 and wrapped up in 1999. It's by Kurt Busiek and Carlos Pacheco. It's, for all intents and purposes, it's a run-of-the-mill superhero comic. Not as quirky as, Men's Adventure or Holy Shit, the World's Weirdest Comics. Not like that by any means. But this is a really cool Avengers story, and I liken it to something like Crisis on Infinite Earths or whatever. At this point, if you're not familiar with the Avengers, Marvel/Disney's biggest movie franchise, It's Marvel's version of the Justice League. And in this particular story, Rick Jones, who is kind of like Marvel Comics' professional sidekick, he's a character who's appeared alongside Captain America and the Hulk, and he was actually responsible for the original Avengers getting together in the first place back in the 60s. He and Kang the Conqueror, Kang being an old Avengers villain, he's a time-traveling despot, and they gather a team of Avengers from throughout Avengers history. So rather than the steady roster of Avengers that was, running around in 1998 or whatever, you get a Captain America from the Richard Nixon era, and you get a Hawkeye who's from like the mid-60s, and you get a few characters who we haven't even met yet. They're Avengers in a possible future. And it's just a time-traveling romp through Marvel history as well as the history of the real world. No, you can go ahead and come through it.
I see you got Hercules here with what looks like a large wooden stick.
Yes.
Very well armed. I would be afraid to fight him.
Anyway, as with a lot of Kurt Busiek's mainstream superhero comics, it's rife with trivia and minutia for comic book continuity nerds, and he actually goes out of his way to try and explain some of the strange inconsistencies that have appeared in the Avengers stories and the Avengers continuity since the 60s. And just about every character that's ever been related to the Avengers mythos makes at least a one-panel cameo in this story. But it's actually a pretty good character piece, because it centers around these different Avengers who are all pulled from different points in history. And you get a little bit of each era of Marvel's history's flavor, if that makes any sense. You get a little bit of Silver Age Marvel, you get a little bit of Bronze Age Marvel, you get a little bit of modern Marvel, you get a little bit of what Kurt Busiek thinks the future of Marvel Comics is going to be.
I really like the paneling here. I'm just going to say this. I like how they split up the pages, giving you kind of long, panoramic type shots. They really mix up the paneling, which I think is very important. Slices here, like vertical slices. Carlos
Pacheco, the penciler here, and Jesus Marino is his inker. Those two guys working together, they just make beautiful comic book art. I don't want to really compare it to your John Byrne or your George Perez or whatever. I think it's really its own thing, but this guy knows how to lay out a page, and he keeps your eye moving. If there's any detriment to this book, it's that maybe there's a few too many captions, there's a little too much exposition, but that's kind of the Marvel house style of writing at that time. So it is a product of late 90s comics, before Brian Bendis and Mark Millar would hit it big, and comics would be all about decompression. So it is a little awkward. There's some panels that seem very action-packed, yet there are,
very wordy.
4 to 12 word balloons crammed into that said panel. But yeah, it's a good comic book. I've enjoyed reading it. I've enjoyed just poring over the pages. I don't know where it's all going, because I believe I still have 2 issues in this trade to read. And I know that obviously everyone's going to make it out alright, because the Avengers are, still a thing at Marvel, and all of these characters, I guess, are eventually going to return to their own timelines. But it's interesting seeing all of these characters plucked out of time and forming bonds and relationships, and I kind of wish they'd continue this in the same way that Marvel has done series like Exiles, and DC has used Booster Gold. Like, just a time traveling team of Avengers is kind of a cool concept.
Yeah, it is. And
there's some stuff here that it's got some Gene Roddenberry-esque science fiction in it, like it deals with the end of time, and what would time as a malleable force,